We're back with another Straight Talk. Going to do something different. Get asked a lot about what books I'm reading and why. So today we're going to go through some of those top books over the last several months. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee. Let's go. Hello, this is Michael Loftus with Wealth and Wisdom TV, where education is the key to a successful financial future. First time here, practicing financial advisor. We do market updates twice a month, educational videos like today, and Straight Talk. This is kind of a little bit of both. So let's get into it. Books, book reviews, right? Always trying to read and get new ideas to help me personally and professionally. So read several books in the last year or so. I've picked out my top ones that I thought you might like as well. And I've broken them up into categories. So first up, we're going to talk about some of the finance books, okay? The first one is Mastering the Market Cycle. Well, if you follow me, you know I believe in the market cycles, macroeconomics. Cycles do change like the seasons, okay? And that book was kind of the beginning of my journey on learning more. Howard Marks, very well known, deep book, but worth the read. Lord of Finance, fantastic, about the 29 crash, picks up after World War I, gets in about the mid-30s. Amazing the similarities we're seeing today and mistakes of the Fed around the world in that book. Next one, Aftermath. Jim Rickards, like Jim, very strong economist. I've read a couple of his books. This one is about 7 secrets of wealth preservation in coming chaos. Hello, as you would imagine, gold is a big part of that, but very interesting book from an economic standpoint. The most controversial book in this year is The Deficit Myth, okay? This is about modern monetary theory, okay? Which essentially we're living right now. Stephanie Kelton, she is on the Democratic side of things. A lot of people would call this a socialist way of money, but essentially doing what we're doing right now, which is print, because we're an issue of debt. Now, I'm kind of still a traditionalist, right? Money in, money out, surplus deficit, kind of easy to follow that. We all should at home. Very interesting points in there. We'll see what happens, right, as we go forward, because we have a $28 trillion deficit right now, and it's getting worse. So those are my top finance books. Next up, a couple of the autobiographies. I'll start with Bob Iger from Disney. Good book. Not a great book. I was expecting a little more. I think because he's still so recently removed from the corporate world, he didn't go too edgy with it. But it was a good story. I didn't get any aha moments in there like I have, say, from a Jack Welch book. Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins. Wow, that book is deep. Navy SEAL. Went from a 300-pound guy into just an unbelievable trained athlete, marathons, mega marathons, broken records for pull-ups, all kinds of stuff. Just definitely a great inspirational type story. The next one, we all know Boyd, okay? Boyd is the fighter who changed the art of war. John Boyd. I quote this quite a bit in my videos. Think about Top Gun, right? He really got the Top Gun school started, helped create the F-16, changed the way we fight in a lot of different ways. Just a phenomenal book. A guy grew up in Erie, Pennsylvania, but was really misunderstood, okay, and died with nothing, and not a lot of people, except now, appreciate his impact, okay? This also is something I quote quite a bit. Observe, orient, decide, and act. Definitely very much part of my process. When you look at crazy days, we had one the last couple days, I'm observing, right? I don't do anything because I think that it's not a breaking of a trend, but great quote there. So, next, books that make me think outside the box. Starting up MVP Machine was a game changer for me. I am not a baseball fan per se. When the Phillies won in '08, it was a great time and fun and all that. But this goes through the story of Trevor Bauer, the pitcher, and essentially analytics, right? Which is what I do every day in my job, but using data analytics for everything, and how he made himself an MVP pitcher. And really, baseball's changed because of it. When you look at pitchers are really out-dueling the hitters right now. You know, it changed me, I think, from a perspective in work, right? It's all about the data. There's no emotion. Keep on looking at the data, more data. And on a personal side, I utilize all this with my golf game. I've got cameras, slowing down my swing, looking for things. He gets that into the book, and just a phenomenal book. Really zipped through that one. All right, next one is Peak, Secrets from the New Science of Expertise. Okay, this is a couple folks that put together a book, and again, studying the mind and how you can train yourself, and starting with someone of learning number patterns. They talked about your mind as far as taxi drivers in London, how many streets they have to mention because they have to pass a test in order to do that. But basically, it's all about memorization and training your mind in a better way. Definitely a deep book, to say the least. Next up, Thinking Fast and Slow. Daniel Kahneman. Okay, I've been following him from years. He had won the Nobel for Economics, although he was the first non-economist to do so, Princeton professor. And essentially it goes into, again, when he won that award, it was about individual investors making bad decisions because of emotions, etc. And in this book, it goes into a deep dive of your mind, and you've got your practical side and your emotional side, right? So when you think about that, you have to look at, say, your gut, your emotion when making decisions, and really zone in on the facts. There's no doubt that's something that I do every day. Again, a deep book, not easy to read, had to reread some things, but really interesting as far as human psyche and behavior. So, my two top books in the last 8 or so months. I'll start off with Matthew McConaughey, Green Lights. Wow, love this. Close to my age. So I've got the book, and I also have the audio book. It was so good, in fact. I sent the audio book to all 3 of my kids, sent it to one of my employees who I thought would benefit from that. Just an amazing book. And there's, McConaugheyisms, I guess I'll call it. I've got a page of them, and it's all about green light, right? You learn something new and you go green light. But just a great story, a human story. He doesn't call it a biography, but it was really a good motivator, clearing of the mind, giving you some fresh ideas as I started into 2021. So the next one is The Fourth Turning. Really a fascinating book. This talks about the different turnings over time. So we have the 4 seasons, right? We talked about the 4 cycles. Talk about the 4 turnings, okay? And this book was written by Neil Howe. He works with the research company that I do business with. He's a demographer. And you talk about 80-year time blocks in 20-year periods, kind of the life. And each is, you go from a high all the way to a crisis, which right now we're in that crisis. He goes back to the 1400s, really dials into the US turnings. I'm gonna do a full video on that one because I think that one is so awesome. I think that everyone will really enjoy that, but that was a fantastic book. So overall, I think like everyone else, I try and read different books for different reasons, not all just in the business, things that make me think differently. I'm reading some books right now. I'm looking over how to decide, making bets. So it's, again, how do you make decisions, building your portfolios. Has nothing to do, it did come from someone who was a famous poker player, and she also does behavioral economics as well. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. I will have links below on all of these books. Michael Loftus, Wealth and Wisdom TV.